Welcome to the AI Research Roundup. I'm Alex. Today we're looking at a paper from the Hugging Face trending list, published on September 22, 2025, about 5 days ago. It tracks 12 large language models through the 2024 U.S. election season and shows they drift over time, respond to demographic steering, and hold inconsistent implicit predictions, even when they refuse to forecast outcomes. The paper is titled, Large-Scale, Longitudinal Study of Large Language Models During the 2024 U.S. Election Season. And, as we'll see later, the implications for election safety policies are quite significant. Using a structured survey of 12,638 queries asked near daily, the study charts step changes, ranks steerability across model families, and releases a public dataset. Alright, the previous segment set up the study scope and cadence. Table 1 summarizes the question taxonomy, which organizes prompts by type, category, frequency, and query count. Endogenous items cover election process, election issues, and model policy reflections, asked daily or weekly with about 150 total unique prompts. Exogenous items span candidates, predictions, exit polls, issues, events, analysis, and election integrity, asked mostly daily. Baseline items include small weekly slices from general benchmarks. So the previous figure outlined the questions. Table 2 lists which systems answered them. The table shows offline models from Anthropic, OpenAI, and Google, including Claude 3 Haiku, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, GPT-4, GPT-4o, GPT 3.5 Turbo, GPT-4 Turbo, and Gemini 1.0 Pro. It then groups online models, covering Perplexity, and simulated online setups that add LangChain and SERPer for search. A final row defines the search baseline, which uses the Google Search API. Okay, the previous table listed which systems were queried. Figure 1 plots cosine distance over time for 4 question categories across 6 offline models, with shaded uncertainty bands. Blue endogenous curves stay relatively steady, while orange exogenous curves vary more and show clear step shifts. Distinct jumps appear around September 3rd and September 24th, and GPT-4o shows a sharp shift near October 2nd, consistent with a checkpoint update. Gemini panels display higher volatility, whereas election process questions remain comparatively stable. While Figure 1 showed steady endogenous curves with a few jumps. Figure 2 contrasts online and offline models, with the top row covering endogenous questions and the bottom row covering exogenous ones. Step shifts appear more often for exogenous items, which matches the idea that real-world events drive bigger moves. Online variants usually swing wider, as in the GPT-4o with internet panels, while Claude 3.5 Sonnet drops mainly in the exogenous row around late September. Alright, the previous figure contrasted online and offline volatility. Figure 3 compares sensitivity to prompt variations using average pairwise cosine distance, so taller bars mean stronger shifts when wording or demographic cues change. Gemini 1.0 Pro shows the largest sensitivity with wide error bars, Claude models follow, and GPT-4 families trend lower. Categories tied to events and candidates exogenous sit highest, while election process stays lowest, which suggests guardrails stabilize procedural topics but not identity or news-driven ones. The previous figure compared prompt sensitivity across models. Figure 5 shows stacked bars that summarize which candidate models linked to each adjective, normalized so the 3 candidates sum to 100. The legend at top right maps colors to candidates, which clarifies the shares. Broadly, models tied divisive and temperamental to Trump, compassionate and honorable to Harris, and diplomatic, principled, and qualified to Biden. These associations average across models, prompt styles, and time, so they reflect stable tendencies. So Figure 5 showed baseline adjective associations across candidates. Figure 7 tracks how those associations changed after the Harris nomination, averaging across models, prompt styles, and time. Harris gained on honest, honorable, trustworthy, and popular, which suggests a transfer of positive traits once credited to Biden. Biden's scores fell sharply on honest, honorable, trustworthy, and weak. Trump moved modestly, with small increases on competent and intelligent, and a noticeable drop on divisive. So the overall shifts clustered around Harris and Biden. So 2 takeaways stand out. Large language models drift over weeks and react strongly to demographic cues, and their implicit predictions are inconsistent even when refusals block direct forecasts. That means reliability depends on longitudinal monitoring, transparent update notes, and robust guardrails. The public dataset makes that scrutiny practical. That is it for this episode of the AI Research Roundup. I'm Alex. Thanks for listening.